Hey son, this is Eric Basir, the creator of Badin and the Secret of the Saami. Got a little screen movie here of the creation of the poster that we use for Badin and the Secret of the Saami, and it is a basically what you might call a pin-up in comic book parlance, and it's a nice poster, maybe a headshot of a character that is symbolic of the character, of his or her moods or general appearance, and possibly even superpowers, that kind of thing. But in this case, my characters are not superheroes or mutants or anything like that. So these are just regular people, and I try to make them look a little heroic. In the case of the antagonist, a little villainous. So basically my workflow in Clip Studio Paint is to create a rough, real thick brush stroke composition draft, and you'll see that in my layers palette on the left side. It's called Composition Copy 2. You might notice underneath that layer something called Composition Copy. That was the first move, and then I had to really make it look better. And so I came up with this. It takes a while to get it, but generally, I've learned that the looser you draw, and the more free-flowing you draw, the better it begins to look. It also helps to get, pictures of people that look good, pictures of people, and draw those, and then you get an idea of what beautiful pictures look like. And then when you do your own, you end up following that same kind of look. But yeah, this one I really wanted to loosen them up and make them look excited and happy. And you also see the ruler there. I really am a big proponent of composition with golden spiral, golden mean, rule of thirds. It's just something useful about it. And I don't know if I necessarily believe in drawing things based on that, but draw what you are inspired to draw, and then see how it works with the ruler. So if you're working digitally like this, you can move the layer around under the ruler or over the ruler, as you'll see here. And these are rulers that from Manga Studio that I bought from Doug Hills. He does a lot of videos and for Manga Studio, Clip Studio Paint. Now they've standardized it as one name, Clip Studio Paint, so you don't have to wonder, is it Manga Studio or is it Clip Studio? So and then for the pen, I just used a regular G pen for now. And here's his little bouffant, or his big tie, that big fluffy tie they wear in the 18th century for their undershirts that stick out. It's like a necktie built into your shirt. But then in some cases you have that, but then you do another tie on top of that. So he's got another tie on top of a shirt. And he's got, I think when we finish it, he'll have his jacket. So, Badin is a very special little boy, and in history, in Swedish history, is a very special boy and later man who died in his 70s. And he had a few properties, and he had a huge library of 800 books. So imagine that in the early 1800s. So a black man in Europe, fluent in Swedish and French. He probably spoke some German too. And highly educated, in the noble class, member of the Freemasons. And so my graphic novel takes place in the, it is around 12 years old. So around 1761 actually. So here in this, I think this is what you would call the penciling stage. So I should be getting finer details. Basically, whatever I do with ink, I'll follow what I do here in pencil. Now, when it comes to areas with dark or black areas of a character, whether it's their hair, their clothing, or something, you gotta do these big blotches of black. It gives it a shape. If you don't do that, you end up having to draw every single individual hair, or every thread, or every sinew of their body, and that is just that does not necessarily look good all the time. Sometimes it looks good, but when you're working like this, generally you just splotch a lot of paint down, and then you build with finer brush strokes around it. And then on the edges where light falls off, where there are highlights, that's where you go in and you have finer strokes, and you'll have white or a lighter color come through. And in the next video, you'll see when I get into the color, this will, you'll see how it stands out. And a lot of the art, in fact, yeah, most of the art in Badin, The Secret of the Saami is based off of, inspired by a lot of my favorite comic books growing up. You know, Machine Man, Incredible Hulk, and West Coast Avengers, and Alpha Flight, and those artists. So, you know, there was the Jack Kirby, then those who kind of worked, who would it be next? Buscema, maybe, or, yeah, and some of the others. And then, of course, Byrne, and I can't recall the name, but he did Alpha Flight. He made it and illustrated it, wrote it. And so I don't do a whole lot of gradients and super detail, elegant panels. Frankly, I'm not that talented, but I kind of like to just draw it and then get it over with. But as long as there's emotion in it, I can convey something. I'm happy. I just have to move on. So you see here in the pencil, I'm refining everything now. And I'm adding some teeth, and not sure if I want the tongue or the teeth. You got to be careful showing too many teeth. Sometimes it looks goofy, or it looks like they're forcing a smile. If you show one row of teeth, it looks more natural. And maybe show a little bit of the tongue. You know, hey, yeah, oh, what's that? And of course, the neat thing about this, you don't have to erase all the time. You can just move things around. You know. And I think at this point I was getting picky with the rule of thirds, but maybe not. And here's some of his vest. And I'm having trouble trying to figure out how much detail I want to put in there. Sometimes I just throw lines out there. I don't know what to do. And it just takes practice. I'm sure if I'm alive 10 years from now and I look back on this, I'll say, that's awful. But a lot of times when you're, I think heard artist Jim Lee say something about your drawings are made up of scribbles. Yeah, I like that paint bucket tool. You just paint in there and then plop in the paint. It makes it real nice for just knocking out the getting black areas. And cross hatching, I don't know if I left a lot of cross hatching in there with the inking. You're at this stage, you're doing this hard pencil or fine pencil, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, you got to realize you still got to ink it. With the exception of very small panels with straight up blocky objects, I never keep a pencil layer. I always build off of it. No shadow under the lip. Having trouble with these eyes. I'm never sure where to put my highlights and my shadows. At the bottom of the eyelid. So here you go. I hope you enjoyed it. Hey, though.